Hello everyone, welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing a report today. So the prompt says, the charts below show the average percentages in typical meals of 3 types of nutrients, all of which may be unhealthy if eaten too much. So, and the prompt in academic module always comes with this fixed phrase: summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. That's fixed. So the prompt or the question always asks us to summarize the information and select key elements. We don't have to report all the bits of information, but there needs to be a logic behind the items that we choose. So, oh, there are pie charts. 1, 2, 3 pie charts. And the nutrients are sodium, saturated fat, and added sugar. And in the legend, we have breakfast, dinner, lunch, and snacks. And the title says average percentages of sodium, saturated fats, and added sugars in typical meals consumed in the US or the USA. Cool. So I can see 4 sections. All sections appear in 3 pie charts. There are different percentages. Okay. I can already see the significant elements. Which one is the largest? Which ones are the smallest ones? Or take the minimum share. Let's see what the report has to offer. The pie charts given illustrate how much of 3 nutrients, which may be harmful for health if consumed exceeding the norms. I like that structure. Punctuation is correct. Exceed has this negative connotation, and for those who are not familiar with the word connotation, let me just briefly say that when you say a word, it might have some positive feeling or negative feeling, and in some cases maybe just neutral to it. So when you say exceed, it usually has this negative feeling because it means it is now beyond what you expected it to be. So that is not favorable. Because of that, it becomes it becomes negative. So bear that in mind that this word is used accurately here, and this is a very important part for your lexical resource column. Anyway, let me continue. Are contained in standard meals in the USA. You could also say it in the US. And remember, when we use names of different countries, if we have to put, or we want to put, in either way, we want to put the way of governance or the type of social structure that the country has, we need to put the. For instance, England is England. You don't need any articles before it. But the UK, United Kingdom, and because you're talking about the way the political structure of this country is formatted or formed, you need to put the. So it's the UK or the United Kingdom. The nutrients in question are sodium. We don't need the colon here because it's part of the sentence. Like without this, it's meaningless. Like if I delete this part, the nutrients in question are. I mean, I expect this part to happen. So a colon is not necessary here. Sodium, saturated fat, and added sugar. Comma is used perfectly here. This is called listing comma. And you have a list of items, 1, 2, 3, all appear here, and there is, and for the last item you need and of course always you need comma for all the elements of the listing comma. Let's move on. Apparently, comma, dinner accounts for the highest level of sodium and saturated fat, whereas snacks contain the biggest share of sugar that was added. Very good. I like this part. It gives an overview of what we expect. So this is nice. Apparently, uh, I would have used the word evidently here because apparently has this element of doubt to it. So it's like apparently it's like this, but maybe there's something secret behind it and nobody knows, which is weird. In this case, we're just giving a report. So I wouldn't use apparently, but it serves the purpose here. Breakfast, on the other hand, accounts for the lowest percentage of all three nutrients combined. I like that. Very good. Very well written. That's a very good introduction. I now have a complete idea that breakfast has the lowest percentage, while like sodium, saturated fat contain the biggest share of sugar, for instance. I know which ones have the significant elements with them. Now we start the details, all the details there. Sodium and saturated fat consumption have similar patterns. We are using present simple tense because, as you also noticed, there is no time frame here. It doesn't say anything that this was in the past. And don't be fooled by this ed here. In typical meals, which was consumed, have been consumed, which were consumed, have been consumed, are consumed, all of them are there. And we can get that bit of information. So this is not past simple tense. Let's go back. So sodium and saturated fat consumption have similar patterns. Namely, dinner includes them at 43% and 37% respectively. Beautiful. It is followed by lunch with 29% of salt and 26% of fat. Proportions of sodium is the same in breakfast and snacks, 14%. A very good use of parentheses. You see, that trick adds variety to your sentence structures. So instead of just saying, yes, fat and sugar have this percentage, saturated fat has this percentage, dinner shares this percentage. Instead of this, that sounds very mechanical. We can use parentheses for that as just one of the ways that you need to show variety. So if you run out of ideas or different sentence structures, make sure to consider using parentheses in one of your sentences. Again, if you repeat that, it becomes again mechanical. Variety matters. While the latter accounts, I like this, while the latter accounts for a significantly higher share. Share is a countable noun. We need the indefinite article a here, of saturated fat, 21% versus 16%. Okay. Yeah, I'm still fine with it. I'm fine. The highest level carrier of added sugar, is snacks. Snacks is a name, is a label here. It's one entity, and we're talking about the highest level. So it's the highest is usually one thing. So we need a singular verb. 42%. You can see a gap here, or a space, if you may. There are both versions of percent is acceptable. Both versions are acceptable. Percent without a space in between, or per cent. Both of them are fine. So, but recently this has become all one word, so percent, without any spaces or any gaps. But this is not an error. So this is correct. Followed by dinner, that accounts for 23%, lunch 19%, and finally breakfast 16%. This period is not accurately put here. We need a comma. As you can see, this is not an independent part of a sentence. It cannot all by itself act as a sentence. And lunch 19%, and finally breakfast. Okay. 159 words, fair. Let's look at the band descriptor. So yeah, everything important about the pie charts were reported. There were the comparisons were clear. The overview was clear. The introduction was really, really good. It gave enough information to a reader to understand what is going to happen. And that deserves a very high score. Coherence and cohesion is, again, very good. For anything beyond 7, we need to consider paragraphing, and the paragraphing here needs a little bit more work to help it become 8. And remember, this is about paragraphing. And if you remember, we talked about the accurate use of vocabulary in the text. There is a wide range. Some might consider wide as I should see like 10, 20 uncommon words. It works in comparison with the number of words you are supposed to write for the task. You see, in task 1, you're expected to write at least 150 words. So in 150 words, when you write maybe 5 uncommon words, that is very significant to the assessor. Whereas if it is a task 2 and you only have 5 uncommon words, maybe it's not that effective. It doesn't add to the variety here. And remember, I told you the use of these uncommon words, like exceedingly, that was skillful. I could understand as a reader there were skills in choosing, or involved in choosing certain words in the report. The part that the vocabulary gave me no issue in communication, but again, there is no issue in communication, but it's not natural. And that part that is not natural is grammar and grammatical range and accuracy. There were some a few punctuation errors that could be better, and some sentence structures, again, that should have been there to just help it sound more natural. If those were considered, again, the score would have been higher. And that's a 7.5. It's a very good report. I personally really liked reading the whole report from the beginning all the way to the end. It was clear, and it deserves 7.5. Anyway, this is a stellar example of how a report, or maybe an essay, or maybe a letter, can be a very good representative for you. So it's absolutely important when you write, make sure that these representatives do their jobs well. Have a lovely day ahead.